Well, g'day everyone, Argsy here, and welcome along to a first look map preview of Clairview Farm, which is coming soon from Hocks23. Now, Hocks has described this as a bit of a fantasy map and a bit of a departure from some of his previous maps. Of course, Southern Cross Station and Aussie Farms are a couple of maps that were released in FS22, which we played on extensively. But as I said, first map for FS25 from Hocks23, and he's used it as a little bit of a learning experience, understanding how Giants Editor works, what the changes are with Farming Simulator 25, and what new things there are to figure out. So yeah, we've had the privilege, we're very fortunate to have access to this map and have a look at it. A little bit about the release: it is due to be released in the next week or so, so keep an eye out for that. Hocks23's Facebook page, there'll be a description for that in the link, where he will no doubt share the map when it's available to be downloaded. It is with some of his Patreon supporters at the moment to be tested, and he has said it's probably going to have a couple of updates that will come out. It's not fully finished and fully polished, all part of the learning curve, not knowing what's not going to work until people have tested it out. So kind of asking users if they'll, I guess, be a little bit of beta testers. So there we go. Just wanted to be upfront and open with that and what the expectations are around it. So we'll do our normal thing. We'll dive into the PDA, take a look at the map, have a look at some of the farm yards, the farmlands, the fields, and kind of the general layout of the map, and then we'll go and take a little bit of a look around it. It feels a little bit weird having Grandpa just standing down there and staring back at us, but we do have, of course, the NPCs on the map as well. So let's jump into the PDA and take a look. So here is the PDA. Now, one of the features that I always think of Hocks' map having is a bit of a town area, and it always sort of dominates one section of the map. Southern Cross Station had the town, that was down the bottom of the map if you remember that. Aussie Farms, of course, had it up in the top left corner, and Clairview Farm is no different. We have the town area up there in the top left corner. It's got probably, what has it got, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 different production points scattered around it. You can see those. There's the factories. It's got a shop and a workshop in there. We've got the warehouse as well, a couple of fuel stations, as well as the manure and liquid manure. This is actually the animal dealer up in here. We've got Noah down there. There's the forestry or sawmill down there as well. A few sell points scattered around as well. We'll go and take a little bit more of a look at those, because it does have some of those sort of custom models that we've become accustomed to seeing in these Aussie maps. But yeah, we've got the town up here in the top left corner, and then basically has farmland across the remainder of the map. One of the little features, kind of haven't really seen a lot of forestry in Hocks' map, but he has made an allowance down here. There's a couple of plots of forestry if that's your thing and you want to do some forestry on the map. But otherwise, there is 24 fields scattered across the map. We've got the smallest one down the bottom here, field number 22, which is just over 4 acres and just under $10,000. And the largest on the map is field number 10, which is just under 67 acres and $163,000. So pretty affordable farmland if you compare it to other maps. I'm thinking of Calmsden Farm / Oakbridge, where you'd be over $1 million for a field like that. So quite affordable, quite easy to get into. And then the rest of the fields, sort of, you've got varied sizes. 52 acres there, you've got 12 acres, some in the 40s. If we just tab through and find them there, 49 in that one. So yeah, all sort of varying sizes and scattered around there. And then we've got the main farmyard down here. There is only one pre-built farm, and we will go and take a look around that. That's where we've started out. You can see our little icon just there at the farmhouse. So we will go and have a look. It does include a couple of animal pastures as well. But like I said, we will go and take a look. And there's a couple of other places, though, where I've identified as locations you could build your own farms. There's a big chunk here in field 9. Which is accessible, and then the same on field 15. You've got this chunk here. So if you wanted to build your own farm, you do have a couple of options. Now at the moment, none of the farmland or the land around the town is actually purchasable. There's no way you can buy that. There's an area here which we'll have a look at that as well. That's actually got nothing in it at the moment. I don't know whether it's something that's missing in the release of the map that I have, and whether it's going to have a factory, a production, or a sell point in there in the final map or not. We're not too sure. We will just have to wait and find out. But that's the PDA. I don't really think there's too much else to take a look at on it. We do have contracts. You can see a couple of contracts there popping up in that. So let's have a quick look here. Do we have an adjusted crop calendar? Nothing looks too different. Any special crops? Can't see any additional crops in it either. So nothing's added on that phase. It is just a standard crop calendar. So let's go and take a little bit of a look around. As we said before, we're starting off here at the farmhouse with Grandpa down there in front of us. Obviously you can see some traffic there on the roads as well, which is nice to see. We've got the mini-map down in the bottom corner, orientated. We just have a look the same way as the PDA, so always will be in the up direction rather than moving around. So you can always reference that as to understand exactly where we are on the map. Let's go just have a little bit of a look. Now, you can interact with all the grandfather and everything like that. Let's get out of there. Leave him behind. But yeah, you can interact with all of the NPCs. Now, the one thing I do notice, and as I said, it's a little bit of a departure from Hocks' maps, and whether it's a function of the available textures and materials and planting and everything like that, it feels very, very green for an Australian map. Not saying that all of Australia is sandy and dry and arid, but it definitely does feel a lot more lush than some other areas. But that's just the way it is. But here we are, this is the farmyard. So we're starting to see some of those customary corrugated iron steel sheds we've become accustomed to seeing on the maps. All three of them here, and if we just head on over to this one, I think this is the one that has the doors on it, which all open in different sections. So nice to see these being converted and brought through into the game. So we're going to stand in front of this one. Can I open that up or not? Not quite. Must be a trigger there, I hope. See if we can find it in the right spot. Jumping between controller and mouse here. Let's just go and have a quick look. Not finding any triggers to open those doors, so maybe that might be something that just needs to be finished off on the map as well. But anyhow, let's take a quick look. We do have obviously some starter equipment, and it is very generously set up. 3 tractors sitting in here, nice variety, the Challenger, the Massey and the Class. We've got a fertilizer and lime spreader, the Lemkin seeder in the front there. We've got a little planter there as well. That is the grooming matrix, so that's actually one that was very limited, if I recall correctly, on what it would actually seed. Not too many options what you can put in there compared to some of the other planters. We've got the diamond harrow, which is one that we've seen before. That's quite a common tool being used in Aussie farms in Australia, so nice to see that. Obviously base game piece of equipment there. We've got a ripper, a John Deere ripper, and the Prolander 7500 cultivator. And then we come back over this side, a couple of Massey Ferguson combines, a couple of grain headers, then the International truck and the 3-in-1 trailer on the back. So options there for moving that around, and just carry on our run over this way, just go a little bit faster. Bit more equipment over here by the grain silos. We've got some augers, a grain cart, see a sprayer as well. We've got a little water trailer and a fuel tank here, and an assortment of bins as well. Some Meridian bins, which you'll need obviously the augers there for unloading into, and then we carry on over this way. We've got some grassland equipment. So this is a little bit separate and a little bit spread out. We've got just a single mower. I've got a tedder, windrower, and then the round baler down here as well. So pretty generous collection of equipment. But of course, and I should have mentioned this at the start, I imagine this map is going to be PC only. I don't think there's any intention for it to be released on console. So just bear that in mind as we go through that. But of course, it's so easy nowadays to be able to customize your farm with whatever equipment you want when you set it up, particularly on PC. There's a whole lot of other options. Liquid fertilizer tank there as well. So I think that's about all there is to see down here at the starter farm. Like I said, it's pretty well appointed. We will just pop over this way though. I do remember that there was those couple of animal pastures, so we're just going to have a quick look at those. So here we go, we've got a cow pasture. We'll just see if we can figure out the capacity of that while we're standing here. So 36 potential in this one. And then if we just head on over this way as well. The other pasture here, which is the sheep pasture. Just find the trigger there. 23 sheep available in this one. So not very big, not a huge amount of capacity. But of course, plenty of space around to put your own one down and maybe convert a field if you wanted to get into more animal or animal husbandry or something like that. So we've jumped up here into the air. I always find it's a good way to have an overview of a map, being able to look at how it's all laid out and some of the different features as you fly around rather than driving. So we're just going to do that. Now it does have a map border. It's not too bad actually. It's not obviously being a fictional map, it's a little bit harder to try and tie in. There's a few spots where you might see some water which just comes and goes and a few roads that go nowhere, but it's nice to have a good border there which expands on things. But we're just going to cruise around here very quickly. Let's take a quick look here at the forestry areas. So you can see there is a good selection of the white pines, the taller trees there, so you do have some options if you do want to get into some forestry. Just go up a little bit higher and across. It's a decent actual area in here. It doesn't look very big once you're looking at on the PDA, but there is quite a bit of forestry in amongst that. So if that's something you want to do, probably not a big map you'd want to be doing that on, but there is some options there for that. One of the smaller fields down here, field number 23, does look like it is a grass field, and then you start looking across. The general topography, the lay of the land is pretty flat. Pretty regular shaped fields, which is nice. Makes it easy for the steering assist and the AI workers to work in. There's a little bit of rolling hills, you can sort of see that. It's very gentle though, very gentle rolling as you look across it. But let's just scoot down here through the middle, some laneways, some pathways to get in and around. We're going to go and have a look at some of these spots over here. So I mentioned before there was a couple of areas where you could buy some land and fields came with some areas. So just here below us, this is on field number 9, going to get this section, and it actually expands either side here of this track. So this would be a really prime candidate, I think, for building your own farm, creating your own yard. You could have sheds on one side, silo complex or something like that on the other, or put some animal pastures down in this area if that's what you wanted to do. So that is very nice. And then if we scoot back over the other side here, next to field number 15, you've actually got another little section here which has the paths and tracks dividing through it. It also gives you some space to build your own farmyard if you wanted to. And of course, there's nothing stopping you actually expanding out further into the fields either side if you wanted to take up some of those spaces. Some big fields, as we said, 50, 60 acres. Biggest one is the one just back there on the other side of those trees. So some good sizes in amongst. Generous field entrances as you go around, you'll be able to see those. Lots of space to turn in and out of your fields, and also lots of space around the edge of the fields, which is good too. Doesn't seem, or in my travels I haven't noticed any trees that are super close, which are going to cause issues with horseplay or AI workers or anything like that getting caught up on. So you do get that, and also nice straight edges too. Just look along that one there right below us. It is pretty much perpendicular north-south, so kind of get those nice edges as it all finishes. We'll just carry on up this way, getting up towards the top of the map now. Just have a little bit of a look around. Just over there in the distance, that's one of those areas I said where you just, on the map border, you just have kind of a river and that heading off into the distance, which is a little bit strange, but is what it is. And there's another example of it too. You kind of got that lagoon, pond, lake area just around the edge, and it kind of just disappears into nothingness. But most of the time you're not farming at the edge of the map anyhow, so it's just nice to be able to look across a map and have something at the border rather than just an edge that just sort of falls off into nothingness. So nice to see that. And now we're coming up here into the town area. I'm going to take a quick look around. So you'll recognize the animal dealer there below us. That is of course the animal dealer from Riverbend Springs. So if you wanted to buy your cattle from there, you can come up and do that. And just as we go around a bit further, got a very generously sized BGA there, and then just a few other areas. It looks like is that the oil factory down there below us. We've got a few other productions and things like that we did see when we were looking on the map. So yeah, a nice little area. Possibly put down some of your own productions too if you wanted to expand on some of those. There is these grass areas, and then if we just go around, I was saying before, there is an area down here which did show something on the PDA. In fact, you can see that just there in front of us on the map down in the corner. This area in here, which looks like it's been created for something in particular, which hasn't turned up yet. So who knows, in the final release you might find there is something there, and I'm sure if Hocks watches this video he might be able to expand on it too in the comments. So just check those out, or keep an eye on his page and that for the release and further details. And there we go. Let's carry on around here. You can see the cotton bale sell point down there. We've got the sawmill directly below us, as well as, like I said, a few other key productions scattered around the town. So we could go on for a little bit more, but there's not really a huge amount more to see. It's great to see Hocks back here for Farming Simulator 25 with his first map release for the new version of the game, and just the fact that he's used this as a little bit of a test bed to learn and understand the processes required to make maps in FS25 bodes well to start to see some more of those really traditional classic Aussie maps that he has become well known for. I for one am looking forward to this. I think we're planning on throwing this map onto a multiplayer server, and we're looking actually, as we're talking about that, to set that up on a Sydney hosted server. So for our Australian and New Zealand supporters, part of the team, hopefully be able to bring you a multiplayer server that has a little bit less lag than if you were joining from somewhere else, and something that's a little bit closer to home in terms of the map style as well. Yeah, looking forward to seeing how that could develop, and looking forward to having the chance to play on the map as well. So like I said, we could go on for longer, but that is about all there is to show and share for the map. Keep an eye out on Hocks23's Facebook page. You can join his Patreon page. There is a free option where he does do updates on there, so you don't have to financially support him for that. That is a way just to find out information on the map and any details he shares that way, or like I said, keep an eye on his Facebook. We'll be sure as well to share on our channel exactly when the map is released and it's available for download that way. So once again, huge thank you to Hocks for allowing me to have early access to the map, to take a look at it and share it with you. I know there's a lot of people excited to see one of his maps coming out, Farming Simulator 25. So there we go. That is Clairview Farm, a new map coming soon for Farming Simulator 25 from Hocks23. Once again, it will be PC only, so I'm sorry console folks, you might just have to wait a little bit longer to get an Aussie or New Zealand map. Hopefully we'll see some in the not too distant future. So as always, I hope you found the video informative. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.